And the best example of that was what I'll call the initiation of the investigation phase, where we start going down these evidentiary trails that we talked about. Bill Clinton, who was very supportive of this activity, had sent a team of about a dozen FBI agents to Gaza to conduct an investigation. And they were supposed to do a forensic investigation of the bombing. And Yasser Arafat simply didn't want them in Palestinian Authority territory, and he refused them entry. They dialed home to the State Department for instructions, and the State Department said, if Arafat doesn't want to let you in, you can't go. Come home. So there was going to be no investigation. I went to see the Attorney General of Israel and said, I represent the Flato family. I would like to send my own team in. And I said quite candidly, I'm not bound by the niceties of diplomatic constraint. And he said, well, you know what, this sounds like a great idea, and I'm not bound by the niceties of U.S. diplomatic constraints either. We have all the guns, and we'll get the IDF to take your team in. And that's what happened. And that turned out to be a very useful exercise. We started interviewing people in the community where this bus bombing occurred, and we found a gentleman. Everybody remember camcorders? Back in the old days. Well, this gentleman had just bought himself a brand new camcorder, and he was trying it out in his car about 100 yards from the site of the bombing. The bomb goes off, and he drives over to the bombing, and he starts shooting footage. And eventually we wound up with all of that footage. And the Israelis didn't have it. And two institutions in Israel desperately wanted that footage. One was the Shin Bet, because he had footage of everyone standing in the crowd. And some of those people were Palestinians, and some of those people were Israeli. And the second team, that was a Palestine Islamic Jihad attack, and they took credit for it. But if you wanted to verify it, the way you would do that is you would take our footage and you would do what was really probably manual name face recognition. That's probably too early for computer-generated data. So the Shin Bet really wanted that tape. That was an early bus bombing, and God forbid there was a bombing out here on the highway, you'd get a MedStar helicopter. Not in Israel. In Israel, instead of getting a MedStar helicopter with a couple of paramedics, the Israeli Air Force responds, and they come with really serious equipment. There's a trauma surgeon on each of these helicopters. But at that time, they had never had footage of how they responded to an actual attack. And they had no idea what they did well and what they did wrong and how they could improve. And because this individual was there about 20 seconds after the bomb went off, the Israeli Air Force wanted that footage, and I'm told they still use it as training footage as they train up their helicopter response teams for training exercises, because the footage had the entirety of the Israeli Air Force's medevac response down. And of course, for the same reasons that the Shin Bet wanted that footage, the government of the United States wanted it too, so it could do its own diligence. We took that tape. We talked at length with the Shin Bet. We ran our evidentiary trail back, and it went to an Iranian-trained terrorist organizer named Shikaki. The Mossad subsequently caused Mr. Shikaki to depart the face of the planet. They caught up with him in Malta, an experience he did not survive. And we laid out our evidence, and in what I suppose you think of as a groundbreaking case, although honestly I don't quite think of it that way, we obtained a very large judgment against the Iranians. Then it was the first time anyone had established subject matter jurisdiction on